we basically, I guess, an update from us is like things are moving along. I think we're gonna hit our opening date with no big issues. We run into a lot of like groundwork issues, like execution issues, where as an example, like we are trying to mount our TV screens or our digital signage screens to the wall, and our wall is made out of tile, and so it's not drywall. And tile is a very slippery and very hard material, and so to drill into it is extremely difficult without the right tools. We didn't know what right tools were existed, and so we bought one thing, it didn't work, and then we panicked, and then we bought another thing which semi worked, and we're like, all right, because it semi works, now we're going to just continue to bang our heads against the wall with this thing. And so then we struggled for like 2 days. Like for 2 days, this is all we thought. Like this is all that consumed us for 2 days. And then we were, super stressed out, and we're like drilling massive holes into the wall because it's to mount a TV screen, so it's not small holes, right? And so now we're like, well, shoot, like if we mess up, we can't. It's not like we can just take it back and we can fill it, but it's just a pain in the butt because the holes are so each of them took like 30 minutes to an hour for us to drill. So it was incredibly frustrating until yesterday at night. I bought the right tool, the right drill bit. There's like a carbide, basically, it's like a carbide plated drill bit that you're supposed to use specifically made for tile. And so I bought it, and lo and behold, it works like magic. It's still not easy, but like it's a lot easier than what it was before. And so we finally got it on, and then we realized the TV and the TV mount is too thick. Like the TV mount is like 3.5 inches off the wall. The TV itself is another 3.5 inches. So like the TV screen is like 7 inches off the ground or off the wall. So it looks like almost like a sports bar TV where it's just like across. And so we're like, well, shoot, like now we can't just use that, right? Because like it's so far off the wall that because our signage itself is so thin, it's like half an inch. It's not really going to do very well if you have half an inch depth of a sign and then your TV's hanging 7 inches off the wall. And so we ended up buying new TVs that are coming in tomorrow, and then we actually bought new mounts that also came in today. And so we basically unscrewed everything, which was a pain in the butt because we were like, you have to put these anchors in basically to tile walls. It's very detailed, but like you have to put in these anchors to the walls with tile because you can't just put in screws, otherwise the tiles are going to crack. And so you have to drill holes, put the anchor in, then put the screw in. So then now to take it out, you have to do the reverse. So you take the screw out. If the anchor stays, then you're okay. Then you can try to re-screw, using the same anchor. If the anchor comes out with it, then you're screwed. So anyway, it was a whole ordeal. As of about 30 minutes ago, we are now 2 TV mounts into the wall. It took us a solid 3 days to do it, where we had anticipated that we would be done on Thursday. But is it now Sunday and we are done? So that's like top of mind for me now that's over. What's up for next for us is a lot of just supply chain stuff. So we're finally ordering everything. So we're doing the bulk order. We're working with Cisco. We have an account with Cisco. We're doing Chungbu, which is wholesale. We're doing another meat wholesaler. So we are getting basically everything we need this week so that we can start prepping and getting things ready for next Monday. And then we have essentially the labor piece of it is very difficult, right? I think and that's what everybody says about this industry. Like the labor piece is very difficult. We ended up getting at least 3 or 4 people, 2 of which are full time. We were looking at to hire maybe 3 or 4 part time sort of team members. So at any given time during lunch, we essentially have 4 to 5 people that are working the line, and then besides lunchtime, it really is just go back and prep for the next day. So it's tricky. We're still talking with some people. We're still finalizing some things. So next week is really going to be about the getting the team set up and then getting our supplies in, because our equipment is coming in. We have more equipment coming in tomorrow, and then we are finalizing sort of like the little equipment things. So like all the sort of storage units, like the utensils, like all the little things. I think what's crazy is like you think about all these really just random details that you would never think of otherwise, but you're like, somebody has to do it, right? And so somebody has to order it, even if it's like the most nonchalant thing ever. As an example, you have to buy pencils. I guess maybe not even pencils, but like dry erase markers, and you have to have make sure they're magnetic, and like you don't have to, but like there's like really random little things, right? Like we need to buy little baggies for the rice portions, and it's like, Well, I didn't really think of them. Usually they're just there and then you just use them. But then I'm now like, okay, I have to make sure every single detail is basically set up, alongside with Tay, who's been a real big help for us. And so, yeah, I mean that's sort of where we're at. A lot of our branding has been released, and so our branding is complete. Our website is out actually. I don't know. Have you seen our website, Paul?
No, no, I
You
haven't.
want to do a here? You can do a little live. I don't know if there's a chat here. Actually, you can just type in 82kimpop.com and then go look at it.
Huh, let me do that. 82kimpop.com.
.com, yeah.
Oh, wow. Look at this. Wow, we got the whole new menu and the insides ingredients.
Yeah.
We got Michael Jimmy with the new logo. Wow, I've got to say, like the new logo came out really beautiful.
Yeah, it did. It did. I think it got exactly the sort of the sentiment across of like we want to be nice and clean and sort of sleek and sort of like on on them, but like we don't want it to be like a luxury brand. We're not like that. It's just like a sort of personable and nothing too crazy, but like the bunny's cute. We have yet to name the bunny, but that's what we're thinking.
Wow. Well, did you kind of request this type of, I don't want to say shield, but this emblem of sorts? Was that in one of the requests, or is that just pure creativity?
So what ends up happening is Erica actually goes and we do like a little workshop together where we just say like, hey, here's all the things that we want our brand to represent. Not even just the visuals. The visuals don't come until much later. It's more so like what kind of feelings do you want? What do you want your brand to represent? What do you want your brand to feel like? What are some of the core values? So you go through all of that and then you say, hey, like based on this, now let's go to the visuals. And then we say, hey, like based on some of the things that we talked about, like here are some visuals that might represent that well. And what she does is like she collects a whole bunch of just random. It's not even just logos, but like logos and pictures and shapes and like I don't know, just like a bunch of different stuff. And then she actually just puts it on a wall and she says, hey, like out of these, there's probably like 50 on there. It's like out of these little 50 pictures, just like pick some that you like, pick some you really like, and pick some that you just don't like at all. So that helps her give her a little bit of direction. What then
Wow.
happens after is she actually comes up with three different design concepts, and so it's like three different ideas of like, hey, like here's a route we could go, here's another route we could go, and then here's the last route we can go. And then out of that, we essentially say like, hey, we really like this, or like we really, some people might just like one design concept, but for us, it was more like, hey, we really like this element from here. Can we take it and attach it? The shield sort of emblem came from one of those design concepts. And then the rabbit was actually also part of another concept, and we're like, hey, we really like the rabbit. Let's see if we can do something together with that.
Wow. Wow. There's probably definitely much more stages behind what you just shared, but no, it's just super cool, especially when you start seeing it on the social media with the new introduction. Must have felt good. What were some of those reactions around you on that day?
I mean, it was really good. I mean, I think more so than just it's obviously being received well, but what I really like about it is the branding feels like how I want it to feel. Like it's not just about the visuals. The visuals are amazing as they should be, but I think there's a lot of amazing visuals out there that don't give me the feelings that I want to represent 82. And I think she was able to nail that really well, and so I'm very happy with how it turned out. And it's received very well. I mean, obviously our previous logo was okay, but it was really just one piece of image, right? It wasn't like a full depth, like here's our logo in three different ways. Here's like a rabbit on top of our logo. Here's like the other branding. And what she actually did is gave us basically everything. So like she gave us the menu, she gave us the obviously the logo, but she also gave us like the different like packaging she also did, the website she also built. Like she essentially just took it on herself to, and this is sort of what the scope of the work we asked for and worked with her for. But she took everything and essentially, I mean, we had very few, for what it's worth, we had very few iterations. I think, especially once the initial design concept was determined, I think she basically took it and just advanced it to the degree that she felt was right.
Wow. Wow. You could just really see, especially when I saw the first kind of intro, I guess, reel on Instagram, you could really see how like the congruency of the designs and brand really is such an important thing, especially for a new launch of, like a new food or new product. So yeah, once again, I just felt like, wow, like there is a reason why we, hand these over to professionals to take care of.
That's literally what Jimmy has said. I mean, and it's not cheap, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Erica was great because she I think is more of a freelancer right now. She's not like she has an agency that's backing her, so I'm sure her fees aren't as intense. But
Hmm.
like some of these creative agencies, I mean, they charge you tens of thousands of dollars, right, to do something like this. And so
Wow.
we didn't quite pay that much, but it was definitely it was definitely a good amount of investment. But for us, I think it definitely this time around was definitely a good investment. It was definitely worth our sort of our thought process here.
Right. Yeah, I think this just brings back to when you initially started ADQ Kimbap. I think it felt like from our conversations, you always kind of emphasized about like getting it right in the beginning. And I think this is one of those things where, you could technically just kind of like get it over with and move on. But at the end of the day, if you have to redo these things later on in the stage, I feel it also kind of hinders with the branding and maybe the momentum of stuff. But it seems like, you move forwarded with your team of like, okay, I'm going to do this testing, these pop-ups during the summer with this, initial design that I don't know, was it you or was it Jimmy that made the first logo? But just kind of, okay, we have our name out there. People are starting to get to know like 82 Kimbap, but being able to kind of up that and it's just nice to hear like you smile and talk about, okay, this is the brand that I wanted to convey, because at the end of the day, well, it'll be great if you're always there with your kimbap, but maybe some people will be getting your kimbap when you're not there. So
Yeah,
it all
and that's the idea.
speaks.
Yeah, we agree, and I mean, so far we couldn't be happier. I think with sort of how everything turned out. So now our job is to deliver on our promise, right? So the branding is not the easy part, but it's pretty straightforward, right? Once you get to a place where you like it, it's pretty much over. But now it's more like, okay, how do we get our operations to match? How do we get our food to match? How do we get the service to match? And how can we make it fast? And so a lot of other things are happening, but I think it's definitely a step in the right direction, and we feel pretty good about where we're going. So I think it's just a matter of just doing it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what is this? Is this countdown of maybe I want to say like 9 days or
8 days.
8 days?
Yeah.
Wow, wow,
Yeah.
that's huge.
But we're pretty close. I mean, I don't know. For better or for worse, I think we were able to at least time things pretty well. I think we're able to plan ahead relatively well. We spent a lot of time in the past like week and a half and being just spending time at Sterling. So like there's a lot of renovations we did to our little prep area where we like ended up getting a shelf for it, and then we bought a bunch of stuff, and we were talking about organization. And it is, we'll try to, see how things go. I think the reality is like you plan and you try your best, and then reality hits, and then it's very different, and then you just have to adjust, and then learn that that's what it is. But I think the things we're learning is like you should prepare 150%, right? Because if you prepare 150%, when reality hits, you're going to be at like 70, 80%,
Yep.
right? So even if you even if you try your hardest and you prep as much as you can, the reality is you're always going to fall short of what reality is going to be. And but the problem is if you don't put in 150%, you start at 20 to 30%, right? When reality hits, you're 20% prepared, you're 30% prepared. And then that leaves you in the dust. Like you're basically screwed at that point, right? If you're 70 to 80%, you can make up the 20 to 30% as you go. And that's just the natural reality. That's like there's always going to be a ceiling there. But if you don't prepare at all, and if you don't prepare enough, that whatever the gap is, right? Like if you don't prepare at all, you're starting from like 10, 20, right? You prepare a little bit, maybe you're at 30, 40%. But then now it's like the rest of the time is either spent iterating or stressing or just, there's definitely an emotional toll on having to do things more than once and go back and do the research after you make mistakes. And then once you make the mistakes, then you have to fix those mistakes. But a lot of those mistakes are mistakes that you could have learned or found out about if you just did a little bit of preparation ahead of time. So, just a good lesson for us. I mean, as a good example, like this painting thing, right? Like the painting thing, I prepared a lot. Like I did a lot of extensive research on like how to paint correctly and how to clean. We got the right equipment. I went to like 5 different stores, like 15 times. Even after I did all that, though, during the weekend, it took 4 times as long as expected. I was missing a few things, and like we still didn't quite get to where we needed to. But the end product was really good, and we didn't falter as much as we would have if I didn't do what I did.
Mm, mm,
Come to this mounting thing, we weren't prepared at all, and so now we're over there struggling. We had time plans, right? Of like, hey, we're going to finish this by today, and like we're going to move on
mm,
to something else tomorrow. But now we're like, okay, now we're it's not working, and so then we're going, hey, why is this not working? And then we're going, okay, how do we fix this? And then you start doing a little bit of research, and then you go down one rabbit hole. You go to the store, buy another thing, and then you come back and you try to fix it, and then you find out again it doesn't work, and then you're like, well, so you go down the cycle of trying 4 or 5 different times. Later on, right, 3 times after making it not work, you're like, okay, let me actually sit down and do some actual research. After you do some actual research, you realize here's what you're missing, and then you go and do it, and then now you do it in a fraction of the time. So the difference is if you spend that time, if you spend probably like 10% of that time after, beforehand, you probably could have saved yourself, the 60,
yeah.
70%, whatever that you spent after trying to
Hmm.
fix your mistakes. So, it took us way too long, and I think the emotional toll of it was pretty heavy, especially because we're getting down to the wire. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
things going on behind the scenes.
Mm,
Um, so now we are very happy the mounts are up. I think the TVs are coming in tomorrow, so we'll have to see how that is and how it looks. Because the reality is like you also don't know how it will physically look until you put the things in. So
yeah.
we'll see how it goes. I mean, at this point, however it looks is just how it's going to look for the time being. But
Hmm.
you know, it's interesting because like I haven't touched making food in like a good few weeks. I almost
Yeah, I've
forgot
been
what
missing it.
it was. It's a different ballgame. Right now, I'm over here trying to learn how to paint, and then I'm learning about these different kind of anchors and what type of anchors need to go in what walls and how deep these walls go. The length of the screw, the type of screw is crazy.
Yeah. No, yeah, there's like quite a few thoughts. Like, I think this is fascinating because I think most times when we hear about someone, start like a new food business or a restaurant, we're always very just kind of open towards like the end product. So like, oh, this is the launch. Wow, like the food is great, or I don't like the food, or like, oh, they're doing great. There's no customers, whatever. But what I'm hearing right now is just really like, oh yeah, we're having trouble mounting the the signage, like oh the paint job, and I think these are just all really back end things that is necessary. It was all done by someone,
Yeah.
and especially for people who in the future are gonna be starting their own like food business or try something new out like this. Like it really just shows like every decision needs to be made by someone. Someone has to really just do all those things, and that all just like accumulates into the final kind of, I guess, stage where you guys will be able to share the love for Korean food to people. So, yeah, no, it's just yeah, just very very cool to just me being able to just hear from that and just kind of visualize what that might be.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of like random things you learn about, right? Like, it's fascinating the type of, you think about problem solving and then you think about like, for us now it's like, now we're really solving very unique problems, right? Like
Mm,
we have this copper pipe that's connected to the bottom of our ice bin.
mhm,
And we're like, we at the beginning there's just a drain on it, so you're like, how is that supposed to take water to where it needs to go? And then you realize, okay, most people use copper. Apparently copper is like the thing. You could also use PVC, but copper is better.
mm,
There's different types of there's different types of copper, so there's like this KLM process of like one's I guess better suited for certain commercial use, one's like better for resident. There's like a whole bunch of, and so you're like, what the like, why am I like, I'm trying to make kimbap, man. Like, I don't know
yeah.
why types of copper, but that's how water gets transported, and that's how water needs to flow. And then so that's like a health regulation. So like that has to be done a certain way, and so you're like, okay, well, okay, I guess now I'll learn about it. So it's just little things like that where it's just like, okay, I guess now that's the reality of what you have to learn.
Yeah. No, I feel like, especially when I was, still in college, and even now, I guess, like when we hear about, oh, like problem solving skills is such an important like skill to have, and you're like what is that? Like what is problem solving skills? But then, I think the more I hear about like your story and like what you kind of go through on a day by day basis. Just that flexibility and just on the spot thinking of just like, okay, like where's the hole? Like where do we need fix, and what's the next steps, and just being able to do that on the fly kind of, and just, yeah, finding ways to kind of be able to recover from that is, I want to just say, like, it's kind of the peak of the difficulty of problem solving, I guess.
Yeah. No, I think, yeah, I agree. And what's kind of cool about this process now, though, is it very much feels like problem solving, and it's you have to fix there is no way
Yeah,
around
yeah.
it. Like, it's very different from corporate, where you say, hey, if I can't fix it, I'll come back to it tomorrow, and if I can't fix it, then I'll talk to
Mm.
my manager, and my manager can't fix it, they'll go to the mine. Yeah, and this is probably very true of consulting, but there's no really responsibility on the output,
Mm.
right? There's no responsibility on the result.
Mm.
You do something great, that's great, but like the person that probably cares is your manager, right? Like there's probably just one person up. Now for us, the stakes are like you either do it, or it just doesn't get fixed. Like it's just there's no alternative. And so it just feels like the stakes are a little bit higher, and I think it definitely wears on you when there's a lot of problems that come up. Essentially, everything is a problem, right? And I don't mean that in a bad sense, but like you have to think through everything, right? And problems aren't bad. And maybe problems are the wrong word to use, but essentially every single thing until you think about it is a problem that you have to think about and fix, or find a solution for. Or like as an example, what size bag are you going to use, right? What kind of paper bags are you going to use? White paper bags, or are you going to use brown paper bags?
Mm.
Right? That doesn't seem like a problem, but you have to make a decision, and so therefore it is my problem until I can fix that. Right?
Yeah.
So like everything, right? Every decision is the result of a problem, right? Like otherwise, or like otherwise you wouldn't have to make a decision. So
Well, I guess one exciting thing about kind of moving into the stage of, soft launching soon, is kind of what you mentioned about having new team members on 80 into 22 82 Gitbomb. What does that feel like, just to start to slowly expand the number of people that, in the future will probably be reporting to you, that you have to oversee? Like, any new thoughts or feelings towards that stage?
it's really exciting. I mean, I think for me, I very much appreciate and like a team, right? I think I can build a team pretty well, and I think I can manage a team pretty well. I think that'll be we'll see. I mean, I'm confident I'll learn over time, but I will say it is also very nerve wracking, right? Because now when you're responsible for people's pay, now the question becomes more about like, hey, is the business idea going to be successful enough that I can pay my team the way they're supposed to be paid? And
Yeah.
so it is very exciting, because now I get to, on the surface level, I get to make sure that like there's an output, and we have ways to get there, and then I can sort of take on that leadership role as I need to. But I think on the other hand, what that also means is like there's real responsibility, right? And not only just from like a pay perspective, but also like these people probably want, like, some of them want to be in the food industry, some of them not, right? But some of them want to do things in the food industry. They're curious to know about certain things, and so I think it's also thinking about like how can I be a part of their growth, and make sure that they're getting what they need, and not just compensation wise.
Wow. I feel, they're probably in for a treat being able to work with someone like you, especially in the early stages. So, yeah, just looking forward to how you kind of lead those people, and into kind of, gifting them with such an special experience. I think it's gonna be
Yeah.
super exciting.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. I think it's one of the best things, and probably the most important thing that I'll be doing over the next couple of years, probably.
Wow. Wow. No, I still can't believe it. It's been quite a few months now, and now, yeah, bit by bit, it's coming into a reality. We're really just being able to see it, touch it, and now we're gonna start, just see other people interact with it too. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to, yeah, just seeing all the supporters of, you, from the life that you've lived throughout, your journey in Chicago and maybe even Korea. and yeah, just be there to support your new start.
Sounds good, man. Thank you so much.
Lovely, great. I mean, yeah, it seems like a pretty grueling past weeks, and probably last stretch next week as well. But yeah, no, I have full faith and excited to see how it goes.
Thanks so much, Paul.
Great. Alrighty. In that case, I'll catch you next week.